Well, I'm going to tell you, I think Vlad Putin has got the ace trump card because the United States has a lot of coastal area um, that is vulnerable to a tsunami. And you're saying, a tsunami? How the hell could there be a tsunami? Well, there could be with a nuclear weapon. Actually, if you look at Vladimir Zhirinovsky, if you go look on YouTube for Vladimir Zhirinovsky, he brags that the Japanese tsunami was caused by Russia. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that was actually man-made. Um, and I went over this on another video. Probably got buried in the Google algorithms a while. But Putin is a guy you don't mess with. I'm going to tell you this though. I think that the reason they did it though was because if you look on YouTube, look at Genepac's water-powered car. Genepax, Genapax, I think it is, or Genepax. Genepac's water-powered car. Back in 2008, they were reviving the Stanley Myers process of splitting hydrogen out of water. And this Japanese Econo box can run off of anything, tea, water, anything. Anything liquid. You stick in there, it'll take the hydrogen out of the water, and it'll run quite a ways. And it was totally clean burning, too. No byproducts of emissions or nothing. I wish I PDF'd this article, but if you look on the article, there's an article at that time, right after Genepax came out with it. Mitsubishi was one of the big manufacturers, but it was the big Japanese manufacturers who were going to put that technology in the luxury cars because, like when you're talking about a $60,000 luxury car, to add $3,000 for this technology to the price of the luxury car wasn't much. It would made more sense to put in the luxury cars versus the little econo boxes because the little econo box, if it's running, I don't know, $15,000 as low as that, and you add $3,000 to it, it's adding a significant amount of money to that, like 20% or something, right? Whatever the hell that is, whatever hell, yeah, something like that, yeah, 20% higher. But if you add 3,000 to 60,000, it's like 5% more or something like that. It's not that much, right? So that was the deal they were going to do. And I saw the article. I wish I PDF'd it, but the article disappeared. It was scrubbed off the net, and it's not on the. I can't find it on the Wayback Machine anywhere. But right after that, they had the tsunami, which would have done two things. First off, it would have crushed the. If oil was no longer used to fuel cars and other small engines, it would crush the Russian economy because the Russian economy GDP is 60% dependent upon oil and other commodities, but oil. And also the dollar, the petrodollar, would be destroyed because the dollar is propped up by the sales of oil. So it could have been what it really happened was the tsunami was a nuke. I think it was. And the Japanese automotive industry got heavily affected. Now, if you look on YouTube, they got a video, I think they call it UFO. It's not UFO, but there was some kind of secret weapons being used that was activating a volcano in Japan. I don't know if you look up volcano, Japanese volcano, tsunami, UFO, although they're claiming it's UFO. It's not. It's a secret weapon. But, if this happens, don't underestimate the American spirit, We can always fight back. We got different ways. You remember Yosemite Sam? This is like the real Americans right here, right? And Putin's all in with that because he says, give that man a cookie. Now, I'm going to tell you what, this is an article actually. It says, Putin is planting deep-sea mole nukes near the U.S. capable of causing tsunami. Military Russian expert claims. Now, they always have this military Russian expert, Victor Baronets, former colonel, reveals, and, they deny this, but I think it's true. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. I don't know how well it would work in every single situation because, like in Japan, the ocean floor rose suddenly because Japan's a mountainous island. So when they have a nuke and the water rises, say, I don't know, 5 feet where the nuke is or whatever the hell it is, and then it goes, a mile or two, and then it hits the continental shelf, and the shelf rises fast, then the water goes really, really high, right? Because it's got nowhere to go. But if you have a gradual uplift, it's maybe not going to be as bad as you think. But then again, a lot of the major metropolitan areas in the United States, and thus most of the GDP and the ports, would be vulnerable. It would screw up. And there's no way you could defend against this. Somebody sets off a nuke in the water. What are you going to do? Stop the tidal wave? Yeah, you can't stop that crap. No way. I think this is legit. He's not going to do it unless he's got his back pushed to the wall. And he's probably going to. They're pushing his. I'm glad Hillary's not in. God, man, the nukes are probably going off already. So, he said that Russia planted sleeper nukes off the coast of America that could be used to trigger tsunami. I think they've had these out there for years, man. He ain't going to mess with this guy. And we are quietly seeding the U.S. shoreline. I think it's already been done. I can tell you right now, I think Iran has nukes already, for crying out loud. They say, you might have a nuke. But if you look at the population centers, especially like on the East Coast, I think that would be a problem. Like, New York, the New York metropolitan area, even Philadelphia, and go right up to Delaware water, whatever you call that over there. Chesapeake Bay, go up there, and then Washington, D.C., even Boston. What do you got down here? Charlotte, Savannah, Jacksonville, Miami. And I don't think, I know Russia exaggerates and they say it's an 1,860 meter high tidal wave that's going to go 900 miles inland. No way. Get the hell out of here, man. That's it doesn't have to be that much. It could be 10 feet. Even if it's, I think it'll be more than 10 feet, but say it was 10 feet. 10 feet would mess everything up. If you had a 10-foot tidal wave, three of them hitting and you could do one, and then you have all the other nukes out there, then do another one. So in other words, you hit one, and border comes in, goes out, and then you wait a few days, you hit another one. It's like, forget it, man. And if you look at, it's not just the population, the GDP, the concentrations are heavy on the coast. And actually, I don't know, I know Miami would get wiped out in Florida. I know a lot of people think all of Florida would get wiped out. I don't know about that because of the way the ocean floor is around Florida. I mean, it goes out many, 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 many miles before you get to that continental shelf. You know what I mean? In other words, it doesn't slope up real fast to make the wave go much, much bigger. Now, if you're talking on the West Coast, yeah, but there's less on the West Coast than there is on the East Coast. So, now, Russia also has a lot of population concentrated in a few areas. Like Russia, when you look at Russia, there ain't a lot of freaking, it's really open. But then again, Russia's coastline doesn't have their infrastructure on there, man. You got, the Caspian Sea, Black Sea, whatever, fine. I mean, there's not in the Baltic Sea, there's not really any infrastructure concentrated on a coastline. Most of Russia does not have, it's a, I know it's got a lot of coastline, but for all practical purposes, it's landlocked because it's frozen so much out of the year. They don't have too many real 365-day ports like in the United States. So I don't think they're going to be affected that bad. But the thing is, if we get messed up with this, count on infrastructure to be screwed up big time. Remember in South Carolina, just I think a couple years ago, they had all the record rains, the most rains they had in hundreds of years or something, ever since they had taken weather records. That was in South Carolina. Now they also, in California, they had the record droughts, and now the reservoirs are filled up with the record snowfall from in the Sierras and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff going on, even without somebody playing games with nuclear weapons underground with the oceans and the ocean floor. But if you had something like this hit with a tsunami, guaranteed infrastructure and roadways, which a lot of them follow near the coastline, and you got to remember, the whole roadway is not just necessarily getting messed up, but what you're going to have is parts of the roadway get messed up, and that's all you need to mess up everything. Knocking out one bridge, because in other words, a river that's flowing into the ocean could have the tidal wave partly go up the river to knock out the bridge, or there could be parts of the roadway that are not that super high up above, sea level, that could get messed up, and you'll be driving through crap like this. That's one reason you want to have a four-wheel drive, or at least a car with a posi traction or something. Four-wheel drive and a truck preferably. That's actually going to be one of your survivable things. Now, places like with independent spirit, like Texas, I think they'll survive okay. But other places that are thinking like, I got to sit around here. Where's the government? Where's the police? Where's the fire department? Where's the OSHA and all this kind of crap? You know what I mean? OSHA. Where's FEMA? Those kind of people, they're going to be SOL. Because first off, the government, you put money into the government is like the most inefficient way to get back a return on your investment. I'm going to tell you right now. If everybody put their money into their own survival supplies and stop paying taxes, you'd be a lot safer from natural catastrophes. I can guarantee you that right now. But at least people, I'm giving an example of Texas, but I think there's a lot of places, like you could be in Montana, Kentucky, Tennessee, I don't know, any state in Dixie, probably Maine and New Hampshire and Nevada, Utah, Arizona, even northwest in New Jersey and South Jersey. If you get away from the city, they're a little more independent-minded over there. Not 100%, but you got, if you have that independent-minded spirit, you're probably going to be okay. People up, but the most populous areas, man, they're going to be SOL. And of course, if you have a gun, that's going to be very important. You might even need it just to trim trees. If you got a branch that fell on your house and you want to get the branch off your house, and you don't have a chainsaw that can reach up there, or a pole saw, or your ladder can't get that high, you can always shoot that branch enough times, and then, that's one way of cutting a branch. You can cut it with lead, Anyway, so that's one thing. Because a lot of stuff can happen. And by the way, this is the thought I want to leave you at the end of this too. If babies had guns, they wouldn't be aborted. Remember that. It has nothing to do with the video, but just remember that. It's a catchy saying. I always like that saying. And the other thing is too, if you want to get around during times like when things are messed up and you don't have a four-wheeler drive, a small motorcycle will work too. Even a mountain bike, even the kind you pedal. It'd be better if you had an engine with it. But, if you don't have an engine, that's fine too. Or a bicycle with an engine on it that, you can do. But high octane Harley Davidson is your answer to nuclear weapons. And I think that's how they're going to use the nuclear weapons. Because, when you think about it, you wouldn't want to, first off, say for instance you want to mess the country up. To me, this is like, that if I was him, that's the way I would do it. Say I want to take over the United States, or make them like putty in my hand where they're going to listen to me. You don't want to mess up the real estate real bad, right? A tidal wave is going to make everything wet. It's going to destroy everything, but it's not going to destroy everything like a nuclear warhead would, right? And if you put nuclear biological radiation out there, you'd make the area contaminated, and the real estate would be worthless, because you couldn't go in there if there's biological agents all over the place, or radiation and stuff, or chemical agents. No, but if you just had it water hit the place and it washed back, well, hey, it's still good. The big buildings are all going to stay there. I mean, the carpet's going to get messed up, the furniture's going to get messed up, but by and large, almost everything's going to be intact. You'll disrupt everything so nobody can freaking do anything. The GDP will crash to nothing. There'll be mass panic, and everybody will be fighting each other over freaking food and fuel and everything else like that. And you'll accomplish the mission. That's why I don't think this is a joke, man. I think this is real. This is the way I'd do it. Because if you want to capture something, you want to capture it intact. That's the way you knock out the United States, through the coast, right? So anyway, what I say here is, I think it's like as good as gold, because, this plan of attack is pure beauty. It's like genius. And like I said, one of the things you want to do is if you had a way to capture a country, and say the people are all screwed up no matter, well, you want to make them like they listen, right? You want to do that. You want to knock down their will. So, but you also want to capture everything intact. Everything they built, you want to have it intact. That's the way to do it with these nuclear bombs planted under the ocean that could cause tsunamis, especially on the industrialized east coast of the United States with all its ports. The plan is pure genius, and we're vulnerable to it, and Russia's not. I think Russia's probably, if we did something like that, they'd probably lose. But then again, who the hell knows? I don't know. I think, and I don't want this to happen. That's why I opened up this channel, American Russian Survival. But I see this as a reality, and where even in part of Florida, I don't even think I'd be affected by it because it would have to go 40 miles up over 100 feet and up a bunch of hills and valleys and shit, and that would be a hell of a nuke. I know what they claim, 1,850 meters, but that's BS. But be that as it may, I may be up in the Appalachian Mountains in a couple of years, and it's not going to hit my ass no matter what. Anyway, I'm working on my land deal, man, up in the Appalachian Mountains. I'll be getting that shit really soon, and for real this time. And I just figure I put this out because I don't think this is one of those conspiracy theories. But Putin's a very reasonable guy. He's not going to do this shit out of the blue. I got a feeling it may come some years down the road, maybe after Trump's out of office or something, because Trump might be a one-term president. And I figure if Trump's a one-term president, whoever they get in there is going to be worse than Clinton and Obama, and even worse than Hillary Clinton. Not just Bill Clinton, but worse than Hillary Clinton and Obama combined. And if that happens, World War III's coming, man. I don't think it's going to happen for at least a few years. I'm not trying to scare you, but what you need to do is prepare for this crap. And if you live in the cities, and you live like in these areas where it's real blue, where there's a lot of people, that's like, this chart over here shows the blue areas, and you're next to the coast, I'd advise moving. Like, that means New York City area, all of, southern Connecticut, Rhode Island, Boston, Washington, D.C., and Jacksonville, unless you get inland about 50 miles or something from Jacksonville, and then Miami, even New Orleans would get wiped out. It wouldn't take much. I'm not sure if it can go in like 50 miles and up 100 feet or something like that. Because I know that the Russians, they always exaggerate the hell out of everything. But it doesn't need to. Because all the stuff that's really important is within the first 10 miles of the coastline. And you're talking, it's like 25 feet over sea level. Which is going to take a hell of a tsunami to knock that crap out. It's a lot. But then if you're talking nuclear weapons, yeah, it only takes a 10-foot wave to wipe out the whole city. The cars, the electricity is all going to short out. The gas lines are going to get disrupted. Hi, Putin. Yeah, I know. Give that man a cookie. I'm on the ball, man. I know what's going on. And the internet's all going to blow up. The banking system's not going to work, and all that crap, right? And then really, once it dries out, all the wires are going to be there and stuff like that. It won't take that much to fix whatever got shorted out. And, Putin's going to be like, he won't be messing with Texas, though. I don't think he'd mess with Texas. Montana, Utah, I don't know, maybe a lot of the Dixie states up there in Appalachia. I don't think he's going to mess with that shit. But the major cities on the coast, he's going to be like, I'm going to make a deal for you. You will come to me. Give me your arms. Anyway, That's what's going to happen. So, but it's going to happen not because he just did this. It's going to happen because I think the one after Trump is going to. Because if I make a prediction here, I think Trump's a one-term president. Um, they'll what they'll do is maybe they won't pull the rug out from the economy within this year, even I don't know, but they'll do it right around election time. I'll guarantee you that. I'll guarantee it'll crash the markets at least in the last year of Trump's office because they would not want to see that guy elected. Because I think over the last 88 years, the direction of the stock market almost always predicted whether the incumbent party was going to win or the challenging party was going to win. If the stock markets were going down and the economy looked bad, then the challenging party overthrew the incumbent party. If the stock markets were going up and the economy looked rosy, then the incumbent party stayed in power. That's what's happened almost all the time. This last time actually was an upset because on paper everything looked good, but reality it wasn't, man. I think that's really why, on paper it looked good. But they'll make sure that I can guarantee you that when Trump's last year in office, so it might not happen this year. I mean, I don't really know. I think at the earliest they crash the economy will be in the fall of 2017, like with the stock markets. But they might not even do it then. They might wait till another year, so they can really pin the blame on him. That, and then he'll be a one-term president, and then the next person that comes in will have the worst relationships in the world with Putin. And already Putin's got his chain pulled umpteen million times by Obama. Putin's got a lot. He's got the patience of a saint. I mean, he's not a saint, but he's got the patience of a saint, and he's a very reasonable guy. But if we get somebody like worse than Hillary Clinton and Obama put together in office in 2020, he's gonna do this stuff, and you're not gonna be able to blame him for it, not at all. And yes, Putin, I'll take that cookie, because I can read the tea leaves, man, just like you can. Just like you can. Like I'm not gonna say here and say I'm a Putin worshiper. I know Putin does he's a saint. He's riding in on his white horse trying to save us from the New World Order. It's not like that. He's out for number one himself, and he's also a Russian patriot. But he's also out for him, and he's also out for the people he works for, which is the oligarchs. Which I'm laying it out on the line here. Whether he liked that or not. Anybody that's not an idiot knows that. But he's also a smart, logical, reasonable guy. I'm not saying he's like I'm a Christian. I didn't want to use that, but he's a smart, reasonable guy. He ain't gonna start nothing. But if we get somebody in 2020 that's worse than Hillary Clinton and Obama combined, it's gonna force his hand. That's what I think is gonna happen. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure Trump's a one-term president or even a half-a-term president. Okay? Even though Trump isn't even like all legit like you people think. He's a lot better than Hillary. That's hands down, man. So give that man a cookie. Okay, Putin, I'll take the cookie. I'll take some Girl Scout cookies with the Girl Scouts included. How's that? Anyway. Jeez, that's sick, ain't it? Who cares? Here's a Girl Scout. Anyway, over and out. Just want to tell you that this is reality, but don't hold your breath for it to happen. But it is reality. It is reality, and you'll have a lot of warning for it before this happens because, I don't think anything's going to happen between the United States and Russia until the economy in the United States totally deteriorates, and that causes some real idiots to get in office that cause a lot of problems with Russia. It's not going to happen right away. Okay? But I do think it's in the cards that it's definitely going to happen. So you got time. You got time. And it's not like the end of the world. It's going to be the end of the world for some people, and other people, it's not going to be the end of the world. I always say my campaign motto would be, Make America great through moonshine. That's that because moonshine is the thing that can run our Harley Davidsons with, and use it as medicinal purposes, and start up your chainsaw with the right type of oil and stuff, and you can run it off of that too. We don't need Big Brother Big Oil, right? We could do that. We can make our own moonshine, and maybe eventually I will get the permits not to go make moonshine, but to make alcohol for fuel. I got to look into that. I got to do one thing at a time. When I get my land in Tennessee, um, that's going to be remote enough that I would fit the requirements to have what do you call that? It's not a distillery, but like the thing where you can make fuel alcohol, because you can't make fuel alcohol in your suburban neighborhood. It's got to be, there's like setbacks from houses and crap like that you got to have. And if I get my land in Tennessee, it would fit that requirement because it should be about close to 10 acres. And so I'd have to put a freaking, what do you call it, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Committee application for with them, and then once you get that shit, they inspect your crap, and then you can start making a fuel for my Harley Davidson. I wouldn't drink it anyway because I don't drink, but it might be good for like knocking out microbes too. So who the hell knows? It might be good for that. But I would love to make the stuff for freaking fuel. And if we ever have a situation where we do have a disruption of all services and gas stations don't have this and that, and you can make your own fuel, oh, that stuff's gonna be valuable, man. So anybody can do that. It's gonna thrive and survive both. So I mean, there's always hope. You know what I mean? There's always hope. And actually, if you are able to create your own wealth without spending money, you don't need the money. You know what I mean? If you're a self-sufficient farm, you don't need the damn money. So I mean, that's kind of going right back to basics, and that's the one thing is I would rather this guy, if Putin does this kind of shit. I'm not saying he's going to do. I'm not saying he's like this bad guy ready to do this crap, but he will if he's pushed to the wall. It'd be a lot better than using an aerial nuke or something like that, or biological and chemical weapons. It'll just be a tidal wave on the coastal areas, right? I mean, make sure you're not in the coastal area. And I'm not sure if all of Florida is going to get wiped out. I don't really plan to be here anyway, but I think just Miami might. And but North Central Florida being over 100 feet high and having a lot of valleys and shit, and hills and valleys before it even gets into the center part of the state. I mean, if you had a tsunami 3 times bigger than the one that hit Japan, it wouldn't go in that far. Not with all those hills. Not at all. Not even close. So I mean, part of the spiel that the Russians are giving out is really stupid. It's bullshit. They tell you it's 1,830 foot wave, 1,830 meter wave. In other words, 5,000 feet, mile high. I mean, God, these guys, they're bullshit. They're really bullshit. But it's not all bullshit. It's only got to be 10, 20 feet high to screw up the major metropolitan areas on the East Coast. Oh, God, that's all it would take. That's all it would take. So anyway, what can I tell you, man? Just keep cool with some ice blue vodka and a hot Russian chick, and you'll be fine. And, people, I'm going to tell you, people all over the world are the same crap. It's like the guys on the top. And I don't think Putin's the worst guy in the world. I mean, I'm not so stupid to think, I know he's not Santa Claus, but he's a smart and reasonable guy. He's got ambitions for Russia, he's got ambitions for himself, and he's got ambitions for the oligarchs. But then again, our politicians got ambitions for themselves. They got ambitions not for our country. They got ambitions for the money people in Wall Street. And, they don't stand head and shoulders over Putin either, you know what I mean? So it's us, the Russian people and the American people, against all our leaders. And um, hopefully right now Putin and Trump will get along pretty good and everything will go good. But then again, I don't think Trump's going to last that long, man. And I don't think Trump is all that. I knew he wasn't all he said he was, but he's not. He's not that damn bad. But you know, even so, just him just being halfway good is way too. It's not what the elite in this country want. They don't want that either. So I don't know. And like I said, I ain't a Putin worshiper, but the guy has got a brain, and he's smart enough to know what the hell's and you can't push this guy too much. Obama already pushed him to the wall a gazillion times. Obama's an idiot, man. He was an idiot, and he's still around. He's still around with his little bullshit games he's playing because Soros is behind him. You know. Anything, Putin, you ought to drop a bomb on Soros, man. How about the Southern Poverty Law Center and do one for the Confederacy here? Confederacy of Russia and the Confederacy of the USA shall unite. Anyway, I'll leave you with that thought.